Let's move quickly to the first capability, the capability to map an end-to-end supply chain. So we want to be able to see what we call logistic loops. How is the supply chain divided? Where to start, basically? And then what can we do? How to develop an end-to-end lean vision, and then how to prioritize a roadmap and develop a business case. So it's important to focus on the vital few performance metrics, like I said, number one, OTIF, number two, or customer delivery time, number three, inventory flow lead times, and total cost to serve. So learning to see the logistic loops, it's very important to fully understand how it works, where are the flow breakers, and other constraints to the flow. So if you look at the supply chain, the most important KPI is customer on time in full delivery, and it's also order delivery lead time. Basically, this is affected by the last loop of the supply chain, what we call downstream. And downstream is we have to deliver in the customer warehouse, we need to plan the delivery of the orders, of the customer orders, and usually we pick from a distribution warehouse and we have delivery transportation. So this logistic loop closer to the customer is the first one to be improved. Of course, once you create flow and you improve this loop, maybe you have constraints in the loop. Maybe you have missing a product or stockouts in your distribution warehouse. And then you have to look at the second loop. When you are looking at the second loop, it is the distribution loop, what we call the distribution replenishment loops. And then you are talking about key supply chain flow KPIs. Inventory flow lead times, usually we measure days of inventory at cost. And of course, we have another loop that starts in the replenishment order from the distribution warehouse and then to the production finished goods warehouse and going through the production finished goods transportation. So this is another loop. You see the loop has an information flow and it has a material flow, and usually it starts on a warehouse and finishes in another warehouse. So then you go upstream to another loop, the make loop, the manufacturing supply loops. These loops are really very difficult to see. And this is a simplified version of that because you see many, many loops. But in the middle, in the heart of production, in the heart of the manufacturing supply loop, are the production lines for that product family. These are the pacemakers. If you don't have capacity in these production lines, in the pacemakers, then you cannot supply on time in full and you cannot have a short delivery time. So it's very important to find out what are the pacemakers, the production lines, pacemakers, and then of course all the small internal logistic loops inside production that you can have with all the internal logistics and all the small triangles and circles that mean the working processes and transportation all across. And then you go upstream again, and you look at the sourcing and procurement loops. You know, first of all, your suppliers, finished goods warehouses, you know, how to order from the material warehouses to the suppliers and the delivery of the suppliers. And of course, for every supplier, you also have a certain supply chain upstream that you must be capable of at least understanding and visualizing, at least for the most important supplies that may be at risk and that may affect the customer KPIs, like order delivery lead time and customer on time in full. So in yellow, you see the flow lead times. Usually we measure that of days of inventory at cost of the inventory. But our goal is to improve the green ones, the customer KPIs that are affected by the supply chain. And of course, on top of that, you have the command, the control and command of the supply chain that we call strategy, supply chain strategy and operations plan. And this will have also a big impact on the total cost to serve, because here in strategy and operations planning, you take care of strategy planning, technology, organization design, performance management, capacity management, and risk management. Special emphasis on capacity management, we will check later. So you have several types of inventory, upstream, internal, and downstream, and you have to understand all these movements. Basically, how we do it. We do it with the project planning phase and an execution phase. Project planning is a scope and value stream loop selection, and then we do value stream analysis. So we do a current state, we do a team education and training, but new paradigms, and then we develop a future state Kaizen vision. Then we execute with Kaizen events, with a mission control room. We close the events, being sure that they give results, and then we review that value. So we are also making available additional reading material with a step-by-step indication of how can you do a planning phase with value stream analysis, strategic value stream analysis, and an implementation phase.